Flat Nancy, why are you jumping with joy? Oh, I know why. You must be jumping for joy because we have clue number 9 of the Puzzle Mystery Quilt Carnival ready to go and ready to put together. Is that it? I think so. Let's get to it. We're going to put clue number 9 together. Flat Nancy, I got to put you down. You're getting a little out of control there. Clue number 9 is here. It is time to put together clue number 9, which you know means that next month we get the big reveal of what Carnival looks like. So make sure to stay tuned to the Cotton Cuts Puzzle Mystery Quilt social media to find out when and where the big reveal is going to be. And of course, you better get ready for your clue 10 because it's coming your way. But before we get to clue 10, let's put together clue 9 and see what all of our pieces look like. Hopefully, I'm going to put together a guess of what it looks like. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully, I will get that video out. It may happen, it may not. I don't know. We'll find out. But enough talking. Let's get to this clue and put it together and see what it looks like. All right, I have everything that I need. I have my clue instructions for clue 9 of Carnival in the large. I have my clue packet 9, and of course I have my colorways, the color sheet. What did I call that? The color guide. There we go. I have the color guide for Petting Zoo. I've done this so long, I can't even remember what I call everything. Let's take a look and see what's in clue packet 9. All right, starting everything off, we have 10 small triangles of fabric B. We have 8 small triangles of fabric A. We have 8 small triangles of fabric D. We have 4 small triangles of fabric F. We have 4 small triangles of fabric C. We have 10 small triangles of fabric E. We have 2, I guess these are, it's the only squares in here, so we have 2 squares of fabric A. We have 4 rectangles of fabric B. We have 2 small rectangles of fabric F. We have 2 small rectangles of fabric A. And last, we have 2 large rectangles of fabric A. That's all that's included in this one. I'm going to go ahead and put everything on the table next to me, and we'll get started with step number 1. Okay, starting off with step 1.1, we're going to join a small triangle of D to a small triangle of C, just like that. Then for 1.2, we're going to join a small D triangle to a small F triangle, just like that. And then finally, we're going to sew 1.2 to the right of a 1.1. So we're going to put all these together just like that. We've been doing this whole time. Hopefully by this point, y'all know that this is what it's going to look like when it's all said and done. I'm going to go ahead and sew all of these steps together. And remember, we're doing this twice, so we're going to make 2 of these in total. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll come back when I'm pressing it out. All right, there we go. I have finished sewing those together, and we're pressing towards our half square triangle that has the F fabric in it. So it looks something like this. Let's go ahead and move on to step number 2. All right, moving on to step 2.1, it says to join a small B triangle to a small F triangle. Step 2.2 is to join a small E triangle to a small B triangle. And then for 2.3, so 2.2 to the right of a 2.1, so it looks like this. I'm going to go ahead and sew all that together, and I'll come back when I'm pressing it out. Okay, I've sewn that together, and now I'm pressing towards my half square triangle that is the BF half square triangle, just like this. That is going to complete our step 2. Let's go ahead and move on to step 3. Okay, moving on to step 3, it says to join a step 1.3 to the top of a step 2.3. We're going to be making 2 of these in total. Our F fabric is going to be basically on opposite sides of the flying geese from each other whenever you put these together. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then we're going to press in the direction of the arrows that are formed. So let's go ahead and sew that together, and I'll come back when I'm pressing it out. All right, there we go. I have sewn them together, and now I'm pressing, oops, am I pressing in the wrong direction? I sure am. I'm pressing the opposite way that I should be. There we go. We're pressing in the same direction as our arrow is pointing, so we're going to press it towards the top. There we go. And that is going to complete our step number 3. Let's move on to step number 4. Okay, starting off with 4.1, it says to sew a small D triangle to a small A triangle, and we're going to sew 2 of those together like that. And then for 4.2, we're going to join a small A rectangle to the left of a step 4.1. We're making 2 of these in total, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll come back when I'm pressing it out. Okay, I've sewn those together, and now I'm pressing towards the the AD half square triangle. Couldn't think there for a minute. It's hard to think and press at the same time, but there we go. There are 2 of our step 4.2. Let's move on to step 5. Moving on to step number 5, it says for 5.1 to sew a small B triangle to a small D triangle. We're going to make 2 of those. And then it says we're going to join a small F rectangle to the left of a step 5.1. And we're going to make it look like that. We're going to be pressing towards our F. And I'm going to go ahead and sew all that together, and I will come back when I'm pressing everything out. Okay, I've put together those D, B half square triangles, added the rectangle of F onto the left, so it looks like this when it's all done. We're going to go ahead and move on to step number 6. Moving on to step number 6, it says to join a step 4.2 to the top of a step 5.2. So when we put it together, our D triangles are going to create that diagonal shape. I'm going to go ahead and sew those together, and I'll come back when I'm pressing it out. Okay, I've sewn those together. We are pressing away from our A fabric, so down towards the bottom that has the F fabric. I'm going to go ahead and finish pressing this one out just like this. Stalling for time again. When am I not stalling for time when I'm pressing? All right, there we go. We have 2 that look like this. We're going to go ahead and move on to step number 7. All right, moving on to step 7, it says to join a step 6 to the left of a step 3, and we're going to make 2 of these. So again, our D fabric is going to match up on the diagonal, as you see here. Our B fabric is going to align and match up here. I'm going to go ahead and sew these together, and I'll come back when I'm pressing it out. All right, there we go. We're pressing towards the right side of our block. So we press, I have it flipped over at the moment, so that way I can press it towards the right side. There we go. All right, so we have completed our step number 7. Let's go ahead and move on to step number 8. All right, moving on to step number 8, it says to sew a small E triangle to a small A triangle. We're going to make 2 of these just like that. And then we're going to sew, for 8.2, a large A rectangle to the right of 8.1, matching up our A fabric as you see here. I'm going to go ahead and sew these together, and I'll come back when I'm pressing it out. Okay, I've sewn those 2 together, and now I'm pressing towards my large A rectangle. So we're going to press it just like that. There we go. Let's go ahead and move on to step number 9. Okay, for step number 9, it says to join a step 7 to the top of a step 8.2. So it looks something like this. Our A is going inwards, kind of mirrors up here a little bit. No, I don't know. Anyway, I was like, wait, that mirrors. No, it actually doesn't mirror it. Anyways, so this is what it's going to look like when it's done. I'm going to go ahead and sew the seam down here at the bottom on both of these, and I'll come back when I'm pressing it out. All right, there we go. We have done that. We have done step number 9. We're going to be pressing this towards the bottom, so towards the area that has the most A fabric on it. So just like this. All right, we have 2 of these completed. And our instructions tell us that we are going to now label these as either section 9A or clue 9A, just depends on how you have been labeling them. I am going to be labeling them, and we're done with that. We're done with 9A. Can you believe it? All right, so let's set these aside and we'll work on our next one, which is 9B. All right, starting things off strong with more half square triangles. We're going to continue on to 9B here with step number 1. It says to join a small E triangle to a small A triangle. We're going to make 4 of these in total, and we're going to press it towards our E fabric. Super easy. I'm going to come back when I'm pressing out towards that E fabric. All right, I have made all 4 of my EA half square triangles, just like so. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and move on to step number 2. All right, moving on to step number 2, it says to sew a step 1 unit to the top of a top and bottom, of an A square with the triangles next to the square as shown. So our A fabric will match up in kind of like this almost getting ready to be a stop sign kind of shape. So it forms this kind of shape whenever you're putting it together. We're going to press away from our A square in the center. I'm going to make 2 of these, and I'll come back when I'm pressing it out. Okay, I've sewn all that together, and now we're pressing away from the A square in the center, just like this. And I have now completed our step number 2. Let's move on to step 3. All right, super easy for step number 3. We're going to sew a small C triangle to a small B triangle, and we're going to make 2 of them, so they form half square triangles just like this. I'm going to go ahead and sew those together, and I'll come back when it's time to move on to step 4. And while I'm pressing, I almost forgot, while I'm pressing step 3. Okay, I have sewn those together, and now I'm pressing towards my C fabric for this half square triangle. And now we're going to be moving on to step number 3. Moving on to step number, did I say 3? I don't remember in my last step I said 3 or 4, but anyways, moving on to step 4. So a small B triangle to a small E triangle. We're going to make 2 of these just like this. I'm going to come back when I'm pressing them out. Okay, there we go. I have sewn those together, and now I am pressing them out. I'm pressing towards my B triangle. So there we go. That is step number 4. Let's move on to step number 5. All right, moving on to step 5, it says to join a step 3 to the top of a step 4. So we're going to put them together to form that kind of flying geese shape. And then to the top and the bottom, we're going to add small B rectangles. So we're going to add small B rectangles to the top and the bottom, just like this. I'm going to go ahead and sew all this together, and I'll come back when I'm pressing it out. All right, I have sewn those together, and now I'm pressing everything towards the BE half square triangle. So that includes the top 2 pieces, the top 2 seams, and then the bottom one will be pressed up towards that BE half square triangle, and it's trying to fight me a little bit because of that bulk right there, but there we go. All right, so I have pressed all of that, and now we're going to move on to step 6. Okay, moving on to our last step, step 6. We're going to join step 2 to the left of a step 5. We're going to put them together just like that. We're going to make 2 of these, and once we do that, we'll be done with this. So let's go ahead and do that, and I'll come back when I'm pressing it out. Okay, there we go. We have finished our step 6 of clue 9. And we're pressing towards the left side. The left side has all of the A fabric on it. So there we go. I have finished clue number 9, or I guess I've finished 9B. So there we go. We have both our 9A and 9B. And that's it for clue number 9. All right, guys, that is clue number 9 for the Puzzle Mystery Quilt Carnival. That means next month we get to find out what it looks like. And I'm so excited. I cannot wait to see what this looks like. I am already working on what borders I'm going to put on to mine, because I always add extra borders onto my large quilt. I just like a bigger quilt. And I always try to reflect some sort of element from the quilt into those borders as well. So I'm going to be plotting and planning, figuring out how I'm going to be adding in those elements and how I want to frame it all up. So stay tuned for my quilt when I do get it finished. And of course, we will be going through the instructions for how to put the whole quilt together next month. But for now, clue 9 is done. Let's get ready for clue 10.